Every woman carries within her the wisdom of her mother, her grandmother, her great-grandmother, and of course, Mother Nature. A woman's feminine energy is timeless, and her beauty is ageless. Welcome to part 2 of my discussion on the risks of hormone replacement therapy and insights and tips about getting through menopause and perimenopause naturally. Part 2 begins now, right where part 1 left off. Now, when I also complained about my sadness and my depression and something I just couldn't shake it, my doctor also asked if I would like to take antidepressants. SSRIs, which they prescribe for depression and things like that, they're only going to make things worse. They can cause bipolar disorder, they can cause more problems with moodiness, they can lead to suicidal things. And here are some more side effects of SSRIs or antidepressants. Look over the list. You'll notice that a lot of these side effects are the same as the symptoms that you get with menopause. So why take a medication that may give you the same problems that you're already having to deal with? I don't think that's the answer, okay? I mean, there are things you can take that are healthy. There are herbs you can take. There's diet changes. This is a time, ladies, for you to really pay attention to yourself. Okay, you're going through a transition. You need to go almost like into a cocoon. And I say that because what I felt when I was in the menopausal stage, I felt like I really needed to be alone. For the first time in my life, I just wanted to be alone. And many women report this. This is a very common thing. And it's nothing against our children or our spouses or our mates or our partners. We love them dearly, but we just need our space. We need to be able to devote time to ourselves. For whatever reason, it's the change that's going on. We need to kind of go inside of ourselves, and it helps you deal with a lot of things you might have been juggling along in life that really surface when you go into menopause. And they say that that's the reason a lot of women get depressed and get anxious and get sad and can't seem to get out of it, unhappy. A lot of it has to do with how they're feeling about their lives, their jobs, where they are in their careers. Are they overwhelmed? What's their relationship like? Are there problems in their relationship or with their children? Fears they had, things that surfaced from childhood that they haven't dealt with. All of this starts bubbling to the surface now, and it's an opportunity for you to open the door, allow it to rise up, and deal with it. And you'll find that this process is a renewal. It's where you come forward and you adopt a new way of life. You're not trying to be in that old way of life. You're not trying to go backwards and live in the past. And giving yourself hormones is almost like doing that. It's going back and living in the past. Life is about moving forward. It's about using reflection to grow and change for the better. It's about being excited for the new freedom that lies ahead in your future. Taking hormone replacement therapy is holding yourself in perimenopause and not allowing yourself to go through the change that you need to, that your body wants you to. A change that will bring you the growth and wisdom that you deserve. And there's so much you can do to help yourself through this. As far as, by the way, so many women wrote me about the vaginal issues. I'm going to do dedicated videos on each of the things that women were very concerned about so that we can discuss those topics, in a separate video. But I'll just briefly touch on the vaginal issue because this is a big problem. You get vaginal itching and dryness, and it's very sensitive. You're not lubricating the way you used to because it's all this hormonal craziness. Here are some of the symptoms that a woman can experience during perimenopause and menopause. Not every woman is going to have all of these symptoms. You may have some of them, you may have none of them. They may come and go. It all depends on your hormonal fluctuation and your stress level. But if you take the proper steps to help deal with the symptoms, then you can get past it. It's temporary. Your body will eventually adjust to the lower levels of estrogen, and this will be a transient situation. Women have been made to fear this so that they go running for hormones. But you don't need to do that. You can get through it naturally. The best thing for you to use as a lubricant is to help reduce your friction. KY jelly is fantastic. I think Astroglide is one of the best. Okay, that's not just to be used when you're going to be with your partner. Use that when you need to. Then there's products like Replens, which bring moisture back into the vaginal walls. And then I really want to tell you that, a lot of the problems women have is because they're not sexually active anymore. They're not using that organ. And so, it's like any other muscle or tissue. Using it helps keep blood going to the area and helps keep it, elastic and helps it fight off any atrophy that could happen with the lack of estrogen going on. So there's a lot you can do yourself. And if you don't have a partner to do it, then ladies, what I'm talking about. And you have to deal with things yourself. And don't forget to do your Kegels. They are so important. They help bring blood to the area, circulation, they enhance flexibility and lubrication. And of course, they strengthen your pelvic floor, which is so important to help prevent bladder control problems and incontinence. I did an excellent video a few years back on how to properly do Kegels. Please check it out. The link is below in the description box. And something I've always recommended, and that is to cleanse your private areas gently. I always recommend to use Johnson's Baby Wash because it's very gentle and it won't dry out your sensitive tissues. And it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're in your 30s or in your 50s. You should treat that area gently and cleanse it gently. And they say if your only problem is that's bothering you is vaginal problems, that you should, instead of opting for the hormone replacement therapy, the pill that goes through your whole body and goes through your liver, that you should instead use a local estrogen like the cream or the pill or a tablet that they put inside that dissolves, and that will affect that area. But again, it has those side effects that it can increase your urinary incontinence. And if anybody tells you that there are no side effects and no risks to taking that local vaginal suppository of hormones, they are not telling you the truth. There are enough studies that have proven that it directly goes into the bloodstream, as does a patch that you wear, and that it affects you with the same kinds of side effects as taking it orally, that being headaches, nausea, breast tenderness, water retention, abdominal distension like swelling, spotting, basically all of the types of things that a woman gets with premenstrual syndrome that she doesn't like, and sometimes the migraines are really bad. So you're going to get that with the cream as well as with the pill, okay? One is just not going through the liver, so it's more direct and it goes right to the location that it's needed. And it can provide some relief in that area, but again, at what expense? So you have to weigh the pros and cons. So you're still at risk for all of those coronary artery disease, blood clots, and things like that if you're going to use hormone therapy. It is the wise woman that knows best. And honestly, this doctor herself actually said that, OBGYNs literally have less than an hour of education in menopause. And if that's the case, why are we looking to them to tell us what to do? They don't hardly have any education. Let's talk to each other and women older than us. You know, I do that all the time, especially for you guys. I want to get some information. And I talk a lot to the women who are going through this. Oh, I've talked to hundreds of women as a result of my video. And I love you all. And I hope you're all doing well. And the older women that I've talked to, you know, they can't even remember it. It's like a blip on the radar for them. Oh, yeah, I went through menopause. Yeah, I think I got hot flash. They don't even remember. They don't. And I honestly can tell you, I'm starting to forget myself. I'm feeling so like myself, optimistic and happy. And yes, I still get forgetful. But you know, ladies, you have to use your mind too and keep stimulating it. And that's important. And that's going to be important for the years to come. Okay? So get in the habit now. Start in menopause. And you're going to have a head start. And you're going to look back at your sisters who are using hormone replacement therapy and say, hey, listen, while you were taking hormone replacement therapy, I was working on my cognitive issues by exercising, meditating, and learning new things and taking on new hobbies and just enjoying life. Okay, you didn't fall off a cliff. They used to think that menopause was like you fell off a cliff and like that was it. No, it's a transition. It starts after, it's like 30 years old, and right after 30, your hormones, the estradiol starts just slowly going away, slowly going away. Nobody tells you when you hit 40, you know, watch out, things are really going to start picking up. And they did for me. And I was a decade, more than a decade, before I went through menopause myself. And now I'm happy to tell you there is life on the other side. Okay? Wait for it. It's coming. There's less than 9% of women have like hot flushes and flashes and things beyond the age of 60. Okay? The majority of women are done by 60, depending on when they get into menopause. So it's really menopause and the 2 years after. I'm in my 3rd year. It's been a great year. Okay. If I have a sleepless night, it's more than likely because I ate something that I shouldn't have. Look, eating spicy foods, hot foods, caffeine, you're going to be more sensitive. These are things that are going to bring on hot flashes or sleepless nights. And you've really got to use some sleep therapy. Okay, so before you decide you want to take hormonal replacement for your sleep problems, be sure that you've already tried real stringent sleep therapy. That means computers off. That means no cell phones. That means, no alcohol before bed. Alcohol is a huge problem for women in their menopausal years. Not only does it bring on hot flashes and flushes, but it upsets the balance of a lot of chemicals in the body. So if you can stay away from that to the best you can, then try to do that. And there's also the breast cancer risk that goes along with wine and things that women like to drink. We've all been told that wine is really healthy for the heart. Well, there are compounds in wine. If you want heart-healthy stuff, you can eat grapes. You can eat a lot of other things that have resveratrol and all the benefits of wine. You don't have to have alcohol, okay? So if you're finding it an intolerable thing for you, try and avoid it while you're going through menopause. You've got to try to help yourself. You've got to find your triggers, and you've got to eliminate them. Hot foods, hot soups, dressing too warm, have an air conditioner in your room. Again, these are all kinds of lifestyle changes that you're going to have to adapt. And I really, I've heard a lot of women say, well, I don't have time to deal with this. I just, give me my hormones and I've got stuff to do. Well, your body is trying to tell you something, and you ignoring it, you have to ask yourself, you're making that kind of a choice because you're choosing something else over your own self and your own health and your own lifestyle, and that's going to lead to a host of other problems with your health. All right, putting yourself first when you get into middle age is going to serve you well when you get into your older years. You've worked pretty hard by the time you're 50 with family and job and everything else. I think you deserve a little time to yourself to focus on you. Okay, I don't think you should feel guilty about taking it and about telling the people around you, this is what I need. I did it, and people understood. There were a lot of tears. I mean, I cried at things that I never would cry at. You get emotional. It's just what happens, okay? It's what happens, and you get through it. So back to this women's health initiative, the menopause, as taking hormone replacement therapy, I want to just point out a couple of other things. It's been told, it's being circulated that that hormone therapy will help you prevent Alzheimer's disease and dementia. It will not. In fact, it increased dementia and Alzheimer's disease in women who took the estrogen, the hormone replacement therapy. So that was a big negative. The only thing it did help was hip fractures and colorectal cancer. They saw that a slight decrease, but the risks that I told you about, the cardiovascular risks, the arteriosclerosis, it increases your risks for arteriosclerosis, clogging of the arteries, the pulmonary embolisms, the blood clots, deep vein thrombosis, that all was significantly increased. And when you look at all of those things, you really got to think to yourself, is it worth it for 2 years? Or would I like to try to deal with this myself? Try to get through it myself. See what I can do. Challenge myself. Write things down in a journal that worked and that didn't work for you. Keep a log of your menstrual cycles. Write down what's going on. And be aware that perimenopause comes with heart palpitations and flushes. And for me, the heart thing was just the most unnerving thing. I really thought something was wrong with me until I went and got checked. And if you have any questions at all about your health, see a doctor. And when you're told everything's fine, then you write that down and you say, okay, now I know that's okay and that's okay, so it must be something else. And you're going to find it's all part of a giant package called perimenopause. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I feel so badly for the women who encounter the heavy bleeding. That's all kind of caused by the progesterone. But you know what? It's pretty short-lived. And from what I did in my research and reading and talking to women, a lot of them have like a couple of really bad incidences like that, and then it tapers away. And some women, they have it for a period of time, and then they even get anemic, but you deal with that, and you just know it's temporary, okay? You're going to get through it, and you're going to go on to better days, happier days. I talk to so many women in their 60s, and they're happy, enjoying their grandchildren, and taking trips and traveling, and you ask them about menopause, and they're just like, oh yeah, I had problems with that. Yeah, I did have problems with my libido and things, but you know what? I got past it. A lot of the whole sexual side of it and the libido is really you relaxing. Relax, and don't focus so much on stressing out about it, because that's how you kind of shut things down with stress. Believe it or not, stress is one of the worst things for your desire and your libido. Oh, I read the most fascinating thing. Did you know that ovaries can still make eggs? Beyond menopause, it can still happen. There have been the oddities of women getting pregnant in their 50s after they've been 2 years post-menopause. My doctor even told me about somebody who was through menopause. She fell in love after being divorced for several years, fell in love, was in a wonderful relationship, wasn't even planning to have children or anything, and she got pregnant. And I was like, whoa. So, if you're in the throes of that uncertain time, be sure you prepare yourself and take precautions. And the other thing I wanted to tell you about that women aren't aware of if you take hormone replacement therapy, hormone therapy, is that you can actually detrimentally affect your ovaries and cause them to atrophy. Now, believe it or not, your ovaries are still working, contrary to what people are telling you, to try to make you take hormones. They do still work. They still provide a function. They work with your adrenal glands to produce estrone. Estrone is now going to be your predominant estrogen that's going to be in your body. I mean, you're still going to make small amounts of progesterone, you're still going to make some testosterone, you're still making hormones, okay? Just not the way that you used to, but enough that you're still going to feel like a woman, you're still going to want to be feeling sexy and attractive, okay? You're not just going to be like forgotten about and, you know, riddled with disease and shrink and, you know, everything is downhill. No, it's a transition. You're going to transform into a butterfly. Not that you weren't a butterfly before that. You were. But you're a different kind of butterfly now. You're a freer butterfly. Free to now experience and do what you want with your life, with your kids grown, or maybe you're at a point in your job where you can explore taking time to yourself, okay? And that's what you should do. You should make this a time for yourself, for exploration, and just say that test is it's putting me through something so that I am stronger and I'm a better person and I'm more resilient in the years going forward. And the things that you put into place now, trust me, they are going to help with your bone density, with your cognitive function, everything. Oh, and anyone who is concerned about the hair, because I was, also, women were being targeted about, your hair fall and take estrogen, and if you've got the estrogen flowing through your body, you're not going to have all of these symptoms of hair fall and wrinkling of the skin. Well, I beg to differ. You will experience some hair fall. Okay, your hair does change, but during the transition, and it's like temporary. It's almost like when you were pregnant, and you have the 3 hair phases, and then suddenly one gets tipped over the other. And if you take care of yourself and you eat properly, it's not a good idea to diet during this time, okay? Just try to really maintain a really healthy diet. Lots of fruits and vegetables. They're full of phytoestrogens, beans. Those are so helpful. And really take care, have herbs and things that are really good for you, and make sure you get enough protein, and your hair will come back again. I have hair, thick hair. The only thing I notice is a change right up in here, which no one else seems to notice but me. But you know how we are, ladies. We notice everything about ourselves and no one else does. And I think, look, I'm 55 years old. I'm doing pretty good, right? You can check out some of my other videos. I didn't suddenly get fat or put on a big belly. Women are so falsely told, like, oh my God, you go into menopause and you're just going to get heavy and gain weight, and it's going to be terrible, and you're not going to be attractive anymore. And that's just not true. If you gain weight, you gain weight. You gain weight because you're inactive and your metabolism is slowing and you're tired and you're craving more, starches and sweets and things. So try to, select healthful things for yourself. And if you gain weight, yes, you are more apt now to put it on in the midsection, equivalent to what men do, rather than the hips and thighs, which is where you put it on to support pregnancy. That's why we gained it there, and in our arms and stuff, because we were supporting, our bodies were doing that to support a pregnancy, because when you lactate and stuff, that's where it draws from. It draws from those areas. And that's why we were also protected more from cardiovascular disease, because as we know, visceral fat accumulated around the organs of the stomach area, the abdomen, is a further risk factor for coronary artery disease and hardening of the arteries and stuff, because it makes your heart work harder, okay? So if you exercise and eat well and keep yourself, at a good weight and lift weights to build muscle strength and bone, then you know what? You're not going to get a spare tire. But if you, let your lifestyle slip and you gain weight, you're more apt to gain it there more than in your hips and stuff. In fact, you lose a lot of your fat deposits when you go into menopause. You lose it from the areas of your face and your arms, but exercise is what's going to change that equation, because you're going to maintain your muscle, and when you maintain muscle, you maintain bone health. That's the key, ladies. Okay? They found that when you compared estrogen replacement with exercise, the benefits were the same, okay? So whatever benefit you get with estrogen to your bone health, to building bone, and they saw that with younger women who were put on estrogen, sometimes, with they're having, hysterectomy, and so they'll put them on hormone replacement. It does help the bone health and it reduces the hip fractures. But exercise is beneficial, okay? And you won't have to worry about losing your cognitive function or getting heart disease or blood clots. So get moving. Do strenuous exercise, cardio exercise. If you're not up to it and you're tired, keep it lower. And meditate, reduce your stress. Stress levels have a lot to do with just burning out in this entire process. And ladies, reducing your stress helps you avoid weight gain. Stress stimulates your cortisol production, increases your appetite, and makes you store more fat. And chronically elevated cortisol levels can lead to insulin resistance and adrenal fatigue, and can cause your body to produce less testosterone, leading to a decrease in muscle mass. So it's kind of a vicious cycle that you want to get away from. Keep those adrenal glands, they get easily overwhelmed. That's what causes the surges and the hot flashes. I still occasionally get it. I'm not completely done with the hot flashes, but it's like one or two, maybe like a one a day, or not even. Some days I don't even get them, and mostly they come when I'm annoyed, like I said, or if something upsets me or I get anxious about something. You're very sensitive now, like your barometer for things, or I had some hot tea or something like that. It can stimulate my temperature control and make me have a hot flash. So please, let's not go back to the dark ages. This Women's Health Initiative study was one of the biggest studies that was ever done. 16,000 women who still had their uteruses, and 10,000 women that had their uterus removed, and they were all studied with hormones, and the trial was stopped early because of increased risk factors, comorbidity risk factors, serious health risk factors that we all should be concerned about, because heart disease, believe it or not, is the one thing that takes the most lives, okay? It takes the most lives, and it is one of the widest spread problems. By the time you're in your middle age, you know people who have heart issues, you know people who've had stents, you know people who've had blood clots. I know a woman who's had a blood clot on a flight to China as a result of being on hormones. These are real issues that you have to weigh, and it's a small amount of time. I know it feels like a big amount of time when you're in it. It did for me too. But looking back, like we do with everything in life, it seems like a blip on your radar, okay? And even after women got off of hormone therapy, there was still an elevated risk of breast cancer for quite a while after that, as well as uterine cancers. And in fact, in a recent review in The Lancet from February 2015, it showed that HRT nearly doubles the risk of ovarian cancer. So, you need to really be aware of the long-term hazards of this, and that there is no effect on bone health. As soon as you stop taking hormone therapy, you lose the benefits for your bone. It's done. It's only good as long as you're on it. That's it. And it's only being recommended now, hormone therapy, for women between 50 and 59. So anybody who's 60 and above, if you're wondering if you should go on it, no, it is not being recommended. The risks far outweigh any benefits at that age group. It's only women that are younger, 50 to 59, who absolutely need it for severe, vasomotor issues, hot flashes and flushes and sleepless problems. That's the only group that they're recommending it for, and for no other reasons. It does not prevent, if anyone tells you it prevents heart attacks or stroke, no, you know better. It does not. It increases the risks of heart attacks and strokes and arterial sclerosis. Okay, I hope I hammered this point home to you at the risk of making this video too long. But it's just, there was so much for me to cover. And it, you know, it is a confusing subject for women because you're dealing with all of these different hormones, and then there's a difference between women who have a uterus and women who don't have a uterus. It's always better to keep your ovaries, ladies, by the way, if you can, and your cervix if you can, if you need to have your uterus removed, because you'll be able to still maintain hormones. But believe it or not, the uterus does contribute to your hormone levels too. It does serve a purpose. So only have something like that, a surgical removal of anything, any organ, if it's absolutely necessary. And for me, that means, you know, cancer, like if you have cancer. And other than that, you try to, you know, try to find other ways, try to find herbs, and try to find diet and lifestyle changes to help you. A lot of the reason that women experience hormonal problems is because they're overweight. It wreaks havoc on your hormonal balance. So, you know, try to lose the weight if you've got excess weight to lose. And, you know, with that will come a lot of relief from your menopausal symptoms and your premenstrual syndromes and things like that. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and informative, and it cut to the facts. If you want more facts about the Women's Health Initiative, then please look below in the description box, do your reading, and make up your own mind, but have the facts, okay? Because this is not, hormone therapy is not going to stop you from aging. It is not the magic bullet. And now that you know that there is a risk that you're going to prolong your menopause, okay? Like, I'm done. And I know people who have taken hormone therapy and they're still in this roller coaster of trying to get off of it, and the hot flushes, and like, you know, I'm done and I've moved on and I'm feeling great. And, you know, I think I'm doing really good. You know, what do you think? So, anyway, please share your comments below. Give my video a thumbs up if you think it was helpful for you. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, because I have a lot more to come, something of interest to everyone. And please visit me at my blogspot, where I do a lot of writing, and I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, so we can stay connected there as well. Okay, and remember that you are still the same girl that you were in your 20s. She's in there, she's beautiful, you're beautiful. This does not change your beauty. This is just your body's way of telling you, you should not have children anymore. It's time to move on now and not worry about that, okay? Focus on other things and you won't even miss it. I don't even remember getting my period anymore now. I'm so away from it. It's like, I don't even think about it. Okay, I just don't. And I'm not the only one. I've talked to lots of women who I know are done with it, and you know, they move on. They don't even think about this stuff anymore. You're just thinking about it and worrying about it for a specific time in your life. It feels like forever, but it goes by. Time goes by too fast, actually, right? Don't we all want to slow down a little bit? But you know, just remember that you have all the coping skills, and you reach deep inside and do what you need to do to get through it. Help yourself, help your body, find your way, attract the answers to you. When you seek, you find, okay? And those of you that came to my channel looking for answers, there you go. You're taking matters into your own hands, you're looking for information, and that's wonderful. Bye-bye now.